Hi everyone, welcome to this kind of different episode of RetroKork. Primarily I'm going to talk about a game with a Japanese theme and a game that is more modern. That's because it was made in 2010 and is called Nanako in Classic Japanese Monster Castle.
RetroKork.
Yes, 2010. You heard me right. The groups Inside and the Mohon twins, they got together with a few other people of the still living Commodore 64 demo scene and they produced this game, which by the way is available for free on the internet. So what exactly is Nanako in Classic Japanese? You know what? I'm going to call it Nanako from now on, because the full title is a bit stilted, and I know why. I know why. But what exactly is Nanako? Well, from what I can tell, it's a puzzle platformer. A difficult one if you don't read the manual first. So, let's start with the backstory, shall we? Mia is Nanako's sister, and she's also a witch apprentice, but she has gone off to Hyun Tower, disobeying all orders and rules set by her mentor. The tower is surrounded by a magic halo, and it is populated by an army of what the game refers to as karakasas, as well as a multitude of various other tsukugami, which apparently are inanimate objects that are older than 100 years and thereby gain a life of their own. These spirited items usually are harmless, but Mia angered them, so now they're a threat. And of course Mia went to the top floor to protect herself from the angry and now dangerous inhabitants, and you, starting at the bottom, have to rescue her, because otherwise there would be no game. While reading the instructions you can clearly see that English isn't the producer's first language. So, what can you do as Nanako? By pulling your joystick down, you pick up a block. Kind of similar to the game mechanic from Doki Doki Panic, or Super Mario Bros. 2. By pushing the joystick up, you drop the block, something that you can do even while in midair. If you get stuck, you can commit suicide, well, kind of, by pressing R, restarting the level and costing you one life. Fire makes Nanako jump, and oh yeah, the karakasas. Wait, does that mean carcass? God, I'm so slow with these kinds of puns today. Anyway, one reanimated object is on every single one of the 25 floors that you have to climb, and they can be used as a surface to walk on if they stand still. Oh, and the game has a password system. So let's get into the game proper. After our first screen full of weird characters, the intro sequence starts, showing you in 16-color beauty our female protagonist, going the traditional way of dressing up to fight the supernatural by wearing nothing but a bikini. After that it's time for the main menu, where you can press fire to start from level 1, or press P to enter the password where you last left off. The game only memorizes the level, so you always start with a full set of lives. And here we are at level 1, which is kind of easy as soon as you have an idea what to do. But this is also where the problems actually become visible. The controls are pretty stiff, and Nanako, even in her very chibi-looking form, is unwilling to sometimes jump diagonally, or her jumps end up just too short for no obvious reason. This sometimes makes it feel as if Nanako actually were unwilling to save her sister. Plus, Nanako only picks up blocks when she's right in the middle on the top side, 1 pixel to the left, 1 pixel to the right, and you're incapable of picking up anything. And sometimes the wiggling of the carcass can be sufficient enough for the game to say, okay, she fell off, dead. So yeah, it is difficult, and you need a lot of luck for the enemy to spawn somewhere where you're not in trouble. After all, they spawn somewhat randomly, and they have a relatively erratic movement pattern, which makes it all the more difficult to plan ahead. This game is Sokoban hard. That is to say, you basically need to plan the entire level ahead and execute your plan perfectly. If you fail at executing it perfectly, yeah, there's quite a chance you might have to restart the level. And what do you get when you finish the game? Well, you get this stuff. Hold on. I need to modify this before I can show it to you. Yeah, I call this surprise nudity. I honestly didn't expect this as a reward. I find it actually to be kinda facepalm worthy. So, ultimately, Nanako in classic Japanese Monster Castle, is it a good game? Well, it is. While its graphics are a bit clashing, I mean, the levels themselves look a bit simplistic, especially the sprites. But the still images, I mean, the intro screen, the game over screen, and yeah, they are very well done. Unfortunately, the nudity at the end, in the ending screen, from which you can't escape shore anyway but by resetting your Commodore 64 as far as I can tell, that ending screen that throws you right back into boob bait territory, making you feel like you just played a game written by a bunch of horny teenage guys and aimed at these as well. I mean, I have seen games of similar quality in old Commodore 64 magazines, on those disc magazines where they had a diskette going with them, but as far as I can tell, none of them had a Japanese theme going on. This game, by the way, originated on the ZX Spectrum 48K and is actually a remake of a somewhat older game for the ZX Spectrum, just called Classic Japanese Monster Castle, which had 2 sequels. And from what I know, even those older games were created by someone who is part of the group that made the ZX Spectrum version of this game, the Mohan twins, who are from Spain. And Inside, who are also from Spain, they made the Commodore 64 version. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can tell about Nanako in classic Japanese Monster Castle. It's a good game, but not necessarily a great game. So yeah, what'll be on in 2 weeks? Well, I'm going to talk about street dancing a bit. Yeah, street dancing. No, I'm not a street dancer, but I'm going to talk about a game called Breakdance. And maybe something else from the exact same topic for the Commodore 64.